The school rang with hundreds of voices from all of the kids who had entered. Kids of all different ages ready to experience a fun-filled day full of learning, activities, and meeting new friends. Bring a Friend Day was an event held on the last day of school, where students brought one friend with them so they could experience what the school had to offer, as well as enjoy the fun games the teachers had planned for everyone. It was also a smart marketing tool to spread the word and get more kids to attend Banban's Garten. Considering they get hundreds of new applicants at the beginning of the new school year, calling it a success would be an understatement. Max was nervous when he had showed up on his first day. He was intimidated by the large building and the crowds of kids everywhere. Before he entered the building, his dad had given him a Captain Fiddles shirt to wear to show off to everyone. Captain Fiddles was Max's favorite character, so he took it without hesitation. He was so excited about it, he tried to take his shirt off in public so he could put the new shirt on. His dad quickly stopped him and suggested wearing it over his current shirt. As the school day went on, Max became less and less nervous. There were even some kids who walked up to him and complimented his shirt, who would later become some of his friends. He was glad to have friends who were kind to him and had similar interests, and not just Banban, but other things as well. Drawing, singing, monster trucks, playing pretend. But it wasn't just having great school friends. He also liked having Claire as a friend as well, and he was really glad she was able to come to Bring a Friend Day with him, hoping it would convince her to come to this school so they could hang out all the time. Because there were double the kids today, they had to accommodate each classroom to make sure it was roomy enough. The classrooms were fairly sized and could fill a lot of kids if it wanted to, but they had to move some furniture to the back of the walls and make sure not to accidentally trip over someone sitting on the floor. They also had to split some classes up and put them in other classrooms to spread everyone out. Everyone had to have all hands on deck today. The three of them walked down the long halls as they passed many teachers, staff, and students. Much like Max was, Claire was intimidated by the large building and the massive amount of kids. She had never seen so many kids in one place. She tightened her grip on Miss Weverly's hand. Miss Weverly looked down and gave her a compassionate look. "Don't worry, Claire. You'll have a lot of fun here. We'll play games and activities, make treats, and so much more. Is there anything you like to do for fun?" Claire thought for a moment. "I like playing with my toys, and drawing, and singing, and dancing." Miss Weverly smiled. "That's wonderful. Are you a fan of the Banban's Garden cartoon?" Claire nodded. "Yeah, it's my favorite show." "Do you have a favorite character?" "I really like Banbalina. She's really sweet." Miss Weverly smiled again. "Banbalina is my favorite too. I feel like me and her are the same person. And I'm sure you know that Max's favorite is Captain Fiddles." Max butted into the conversation as soon as his favorite character was mentioned. "He's so cool. I want to be a brave pirate just like him when I grow up." Max danced around the hall, making faux fighting moves with an invisible sword, laughing at the bad guys that only he could see before defeating them with a final stab and raising his hand in the air, mimicking the shirt he was wearing. Claire laughed and clapped at Max for his heroism. "Hooray! You did it!" she shouted. Miss Weverly tilted her head and joined in on the praise. "How very brave you are, Max. I bet you can be a great hero just like Captain Fiddles one day." "You think so?" Max asked. Miss Weverly knelt down to his level and put her hand on his shoulder. "I know so," she replied. Max smiled. He always liked Miss Weverly and how kind she was. She was right. She and Banbalina were very much alike. Miss Weverly rose back up, taking each of them by the hand. "Come on now, we're almost to the cafeteria." "Why do we have to go there?" Claire asked. "Our principal wants to say a few words before the day starts." The three of them entered the cafeteria, where everyone was gathering. The tables and chairs had been rearranged to face a small stage towards the back. All of the teachers and staff had positioned themselves at the sides of the room, while the hundreds of students were packed into the center. There were so many, a lot of them had to resort to sitting on the floor by their designated tables. Claire was shocked by the sight. Her jaw hung low and her body shaking. Miss Weverly looked down at Claire and noticed. "Don't worry, Claire. Everyone here is really nice, and I'm sure the other kids are just as nervous to be here as you are. And don't forget, you have Max here. He'll make you comfortable." Claire looked at Max, who gave her a big smile. Claire smiled back. She really was happy to have him as a friend. Ah, here we are. Miss Weverly brought Max and Claire to a table that was semi-close to the stage. It was already full of kids, about 30 or so, with a few already on the floor. This is Max's class, though it looks like the table's already full. I hope you don't mind sitting on the floor. That's okay, Max exclaimed. I'll be fine, Claire quietly said. There's a spot in the middle right by Alexander. You can sit right there. Miss Weverly let go of their hands and gently gestured them to their spot. Max and Claire carefully maneuvered around the other kids until they reached their spot and sat down. The kid they sat next to, Alexander, turned toward Max.
Hi, Max. Hi, Alexander. Who did you bring? Max asked. I brought my friend Leo.
The kid next to Alexander turned towards Max and Claire.
Hi, I'm Leo, Leo shouted. Hi, Leo. I'm Max, and this is my friend Claire.
Claire turned towards Max when she heard her name. She looked towards the two of them and gave a small wave and a quiet,
Hi.
Alexander and Leo waved excitedly at her.
Are you excited to be here too?
Asked Leo.
Yeah,
Claire replied, trying her best to hide her nervousness.
Hey, Claire, who's your favorite Banban character?
Asked Alexander.
I like Banbalina. Who's yours?
My favorite is Jumbo Josh, replied Alexander. He's really cute.
I like Nab Nab, Leo added. He's so funny. Do you remember when he tried to ruin Banban's birthday? That was so funny, Max replied. I liked the episode of Captain Fiddles, when he had to go on a big adventure all alone to show he was a real pirate. I thought that episode was cool too, Alexander replied.
Claire looked at the three kids as they talked on and on about their favorite episodes and moments. She thought it was nice to see the three of them get along so quickly. Claire never had any trouble making friends, but she was very shy when it came to meeting new people. It was something that she struggled with for a bit. She was just as shy when she first met Max, but she slowly got comfortable around him, and now saw him as one of her best friends. She didn't know what she would do if she didn't have Max.
Hey, Claire!
Max shouted. Claire snapped out of her train of thought.
Huh?
She asked, confused.
Alexander and Leo want to know what your favorite episode was.
Claire looked at the two boys, who were staring at her in anticipation. She felt a string of nerves coursing through her body, but she knew she had to give an answer.
My favorite episode was the Valentine's episode. I liked the part where they went over a chocolate river and sang about all the kinds of chocolate there were.
I like that one too, said Alex.
Me too, Leo added.
As the three kids continued on, Claire getting more comfortable with Max's friends, they didn't notice that someone had walked on stage. A tall woman with kind eyes, wearing purple clothes and a fancy purple flower brooch on her chest. She walked up to the podium and spoke into the microphone.
Attention, little flowers. Attention. Quiet down. Cover your buds with your petals.
She made a motion with her hands where she brought her arms out wide and folded them over so her hands covered her mouth. She did this a few times as the room went silent and all the kids looked at her.
Thank you. Don't worry, you will all bloom in just a moment. Thank you all for coming on this special day. I am Rachel Freeman, but you may call me Miss Freeman. I am the Vice Principal of Banban's Garten, and I'd like to welcome you all to our wonderful Bring a Friend Day event.
All of the kids clapped and cheered. After a moment, Miss Freeman made the flower petal motion, and the room goes quiet once more. I can just tell you're all very excited for what we have planned today. There's quite a lot of you here. A lot more than I would have imagined, if I'm honest. But no matter. I'm sure it's exciting for all the lovely new faces here to see what Banban's Garden is all about. I hope you make many new friends here. Enjoy the fun activities, games, and stories we'll read. But first and foremost, before we begin, I'd like to give the podium to someone very special. He's not only the principal of Banban's Garden, but the one and only creator of the show you love and adore. Please bloom out and give a hand for Adam Uthman, the creator of Banban's Garden.
The room is filled with applause and cheers and screams from all the kids in the room as Adam Uthman slowly walks onto the stage. He was an older-looking gentleman, with gray hair and wrinkles, and walked around with a cane. He looked a bit stern, but had a small glint in his eyes. Max turned to Claire. "Mr. Uthman may look mean, but he's really nice. He once gave me a Captain Fiddles pencil box once." Mr. Uthman shakes Miss Newman's hand and brought himself to the podium. The kids saw Miss Newman do the flower petal gesture and went quiet once more. Mr. Uthman spoke into the mic with a tired voice. "Hello, all you bright young seeds of Banban's garden. I am Mr. Uthman, your principal. While I see you all as little seeds in our garden, and in some cases wonderful flowers all ready to bloom, I see myself as a grand tree, one who overlooks our garden that's filled with creative spirit, young talent, and future thinkers of our world. I've been principal at this kindergarten for many years, and I can just tell by all the new faces here that you'll absolutely love what we have to offer. And with our plans for a new elementary wing, we hope you'll be here even longer. Our teachers and staff here will take care of you with whatever you may need. They are my wonderful friends, and they are our well-taken care of trees in our garden." Mr. Uthman coughed a bit and cleared his throat before continuing. "Now, I don't want to bore you too long. I know you all want to get on with the fun day we have planned. But what is this fun day, you may be wondering? Well, you and your friend will go to your designated classrooms for a fun day of learning, reading, and seeing what a typical day at our school is like. You'll rotate between different special classes like art, music, computers, and you'll even go outside to play, get some exercise, and enjoy our beautiful playground. After that, we'll have lunch, and then, after some time, head into the playroom for some fun activities put together by our staff. And maybe along the way, watch some of Banban's garden, too." The crowd of kids jittered in their seats at the thought of watching Banban's garden at school. Despite everything, actually watching Banban's garden was saved for special occasions. And finally, while you're in the playroom, I have a special surprise cooked up that I'd like to share with all of you. Mr. Uthman gestured his arms wide, as if he was including the teachers and staff as well. Someone special is going to visit our garden, and they can't wait to meet you all. The children buzzed with curiosity and excitement. "Who's going to come?" one kid asked. "Is it someone from the show?" another questioned. "Maybe it's Banban or Jumbo Josh," someone shouted. "What about Sheriff Toadster or Opila or Tarda?" another exclaimed. Now, settle down, everyone. You'll meet them soon enough. Just be patient, and I promise it'll be worth the wait." Mr. Uthman cleared his throat once more. "I think that's about all I have to say. I hope you all have a wonderful Bring a Friend Day today. Please follow your designated teachers to your classrooms, and I will see you all later in the day for our big surprise." Mr. Uthman grabbed his cane and slowly walked off the stage, waving to all the kids. The kids waved back and all shouted "bye" to him. Miss Weverly waved her arms and brought her kids' attention to her. "Okay, everyone, let's all hold hands and follow me to the classroom. Everyone ready?" she asked. All of the kids gave a resounding "yeah" before slowly following Miss Weverly out of the lunchroom into the halls once more. Hours passed, and the bell for lunch rang out in the halls. Because of the amount of kids, some of them split up between eating inside and eating outside. It left very little room for the teachers and staff to have their lunch. Most of them ate in the teachers' lounge, while others had to resort to eating in their classrooms. The teachers' lounge was fairly sized, with all the commodities they needed: restroom, TV, fridge, a small escape from today's chaotic event. Mason Weverly sat at one of the tables, enjoying the food that was set up for all the adults. She scrolled through her phone while she ate, enjoying herself in this break away from all the kids. She zoned out so fast, blocking all the chatter and noise, that she barely noticed one of her co-workers sitting next to her. Kelly Quincy quietly sat down next to Mason, fidgeting her fingers and moving around her salad and eggs with her fork. It only took Kelly to continuously tap her fingers on the table for Mason to break out of her own trance and notice her. "Oh, Kelly! Sorry, I didn't notice you there." Kelly jumped in her seat, hearing Mason call her name. "Oh, sorry, Mason. I didn't mean to bother you. I can go if you want me to." Mason quickly grabbed Kelly's shoulder before she left the table. No, it's okay. You don't have to go. Besides, I haven't seen you since morning announcements. Is everything okay?" Kelly paused, her eyes looking around nervously. "Yeah, I'm fine. I just forgot something, that was all." "Oh, were you able to find it?" Mason asked. Kelly paused again. "Yeah, I found it." Kelly was Mason's assistant in her classroom. She was fairly new, having been around here for about a year and a half. She was always quiet, but Mason thought that she was very helpful and kind to the kids. Mason always tried her best to relieve her of her anxieties. There were moments of Kelly mysteriously disappearing for no reason whenever her anxieties seemed to spike. When she came back, she looked a lot calmer and felt a bit more ready to take on anything. Mason was glad Kelly had something that helped calm her down, though sometimes she wished Kelly could come to her or Rachel or Adam for help too. Kelly was shy and struggled to open up about herself. Mason wished she knew what to do to help her more. "You know, I'm glad you handle these things privately and not out in the open. I'm sure being by yourself in private helps calm you down a lot, but..." Mason puts a hand on Kelly's. "Just remember, you can always come to me, Rachel, or Adam if you need to talk about it. I know things get crazy around here, and especially today of all days, but just know that we're here for you." Kelly looked down at both of their hands, and then up to Mason's face. Kelly wasn't sure what to think. She knew Mason was nice, but she still needed this. Her reliefs. "Thanks. I'll be fine." Mason's face scrunched up and gave a small nod. "Okay. Next time, though, can you let me know when you're going to be by yourself? I don't want to be needing help and you're suddenly just gone." Kelly looked down. Maybe," she stammered, before remembering her placement and looked back quickly. I mean, of course. I'll try." Mason gave a small smile and continued her lunch. The sound of the door opening brought the ladies' attention towards it. Adam Uthman walked in, slowly staggering his way towards the coffee machine. He looked tired, exhausted even. Coming in shortly behind him was Isaac Marriott, the school's science teacher. He quickly moved around Adam to get his own coffee, making it before Adam had a chance to reach his mug. "You're in a rush," Adam remarked. Isaac scoffed. "Yeah, no shit. Bring a friend day sucks. Do you think it's easy having to juggle all of my duties on today of all days? I have to get all my science equipment ready for my presentation with the kids and make sure nothing gets mixed up with my..." He cut himself off when he looked at Mason and Kelly sitting at the table by the wall. Mason gave a small wave and a smile, while Kelly just gave a quick glance and a nod. Isaac leaned in closely towards Adam and lowered his voice so as the ladies wouldn't hear him. "My... work?" Adam raised his eyes and looked behind him to see the two women. He gave a small smile and waved to Mason. Mason responded with a bashful look. He turned his attention back to Isaac. "Look, I know your work is important, but we also have to prioritize our jobs here. Then we'll have a couple of months to focus on your work as much as you want." "Well, I bet my work will be a lot more easier if my boss will stop whatever he was doing and help me." Isaac stared at Adam and waited for his reaction. Adam brought his hand to his head and sighed. He brought Isaac closer to him and walked him over to the opposite wall. He looked at Isaac with a face of annoyance and tiredness. "Listen to me. You have no idea what's going on in my head with the amount of shit I have to do. I have new kids to meet, new applications to look over which have doubled for today, and I have to check to make sure everything is okay with my work. So unless you are in my position, I suggest you suck it up and deal with it." Adam looked behind him. Mason and Kelly were talking to each other, not paying attention to them. Adam looked back at Isaac, who was just as fed up as he was.
Just give me 5 to 10 minutes to finish up, and I'll meet you down there. I have to check on some things anyway." Adam and Isaac straightened up and put back on their masks. "So don't worry too much, Isaac. You're doing a great job. I'm sure that presentation will go great." Isaac went back to grab his coffee mug and leave the room. He stopped before the door and looked back at Adam with a look of disdain. 5 to 10 minutes, Isaac growled under his breath. He turned back around and walked out the hallway. Adam's face relaxed, and he sighed. He went back to the coffee machine to finally get his next coffee. "Isaac must have woken up on the wrong side of the examination table, huh?" Mason remarked. Adam snickered. "Yeah, well, I think we're all pretty tired today, but it's for the children. After today, it's nothing but relaxation and going on vacation. Speaking of, are you excited for ours, Mason?" Mason looked at Adam, eyes wide and blush on her face. "Oh, yeah, I am. I'm surprised you were able to get tickets on such short notice. And to Madrid of all places?" "Are you nervous? Going to such a faraway place, I mean," Adam asked. "No, not really. I'm just excited. I made sure to pack up a lot of things beforehand, but I still need to pack a few more things. I can come over to your house and help you out if you want. I've been meaning to see little James again. How is he, by the way?" "Oh, he's been doing fine. I think he's been a bit under the weather lately. Nothing serious, but it's been a bit of a hard time for him. Daniel's been keeping a close eye on him since I'm here." Adam gave a sympathetic look. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I think I have some spare Banban plushies that I can give him if you want." "That would be nice. Thank you." Mason smiled back at Adam. Adam was always nice to Mason, and vice versa. He wasn't sure why he liked Mason, but he did. She probably reminded him of some other girl he fawned for many years ago, but he thought that she was nice enough to be friends with. He also thought she was nice enough for her to protect. Adam looked at the clock in the lounge. "Well, I better get going. No rest for the wicked, as I always say." Adam quickly gulped the rest of his coffee down and rushed out the room. "Enjoy the rest of your break, you two." "We will. Thanks." Mason stared at the door where Adam left out of. She always admired Adam's determination when it came to his work, and his kindness towards the students here. She was surprised when Adam gave her a ticket to spend a couple weeks with him in Madrid, Spain, and on the next day, no less. But Mason definitely needed it. Working at Banban's Garten might have been fun, but it was exhausting having to watch over so many kids, especially today of all days. A break away from the chaos seemed like a really fun time. "I better continue my work. I'll meet you back in the classroom," said Kelly. Before Mason said anything, Kelly quickly rushed towards the door as well. Mason looked back at Kelly's lunch and saw that she had barely eaten much. She picked up her own lunch, as well as Kelly's, and brought them with her out the door. "I'm sure eating in the classroom isn't a big deal. It's a special day." Mason walked out the room, smiling. It definitely was a special day. Claire's time at Banban's Garden was unlike anything she had experienced before. She absolutely loved it. She enjoyed walking down the halls in this massive school. She loved playing outside, and she loved all the friends that she made too, including Max's friends Leo and Alexander. She really liked the two of them. Leo was smart and funny, and Alexander was kind and playful. It was nice for her to be a part of this little friend group. She really enjoyed playing tag and hide-and-seek with them in the playground, and drawing their favorite characters in art class. She didn't really think on the more educational parts of the day. All she wanted to focus on was the fun. And it was even more fun when she entered the playroom for the first time. It was a massive place, probably as massive as the lunchroom. The walls were decorated with a beautiful landscape of all the Banban's Garden characters having fun in different ways. There were slides, swings, a ball pit, toys, and even a small area off to the side that was set up so kids could watch Banban's Garden. There were even mini statues of the main six scattered around the playroom. It was nothing like Claire had ever seen before. For Bring a Friend Day, the playroom was decorated with balloons, streamers, tables with different activities,
and a large stage with curtains, much like the one in the lunchroom, was stationed in the back, possibly for Mr. Uthman to give his announcement for the big surprise. Above the stage was a giant banner towards the back of the wall that read, "Welcome to the Garden." Even without the decorations, Claire couldn't believe a school, let alone a kindergarten, had something like this. She was in absolute awe. She suddenly felt a hand on her shoulder, and she jumped. She turned and realized it was Max, beaming with excitement.
"Isn't it cool? I always love coming here," Max exclaimed.
"Do you go here every day?" Claire asked.
"Not every day," Max replied. "We come here for birthdays or holidays or fun events, and as a reward from our teachers."
"How do you get to play as a reward?" Leo wondered.
"Getting good grades, cleaning up, being nice to each other, using manners, doing our homework, all that stuff," Alexander answered.
"I wish all schools had this," said Claire.
"Me too,"
replied Leo. Miss Weverly walked in front of Max's class and brought her hand up.
"Okay, everyone, eyes on me. You'll be able to play soon. I want all of you to sit crisscross applesauce on the floor by the stage. Once everyone is here, Mr. Uthman will come on stage and share his big surprise to you all."
The kids cheered in excitement, with wide eyes and big smiles. They all walked towards the stage in a straight line, and neatly sat down in a row a few feet in front of the stage. One by one, each classroom and their teachers came into the playroom and sat down by each other around the stage. The room was once again filled with noises of excitement from the kids. Max bounced up and down, eager to see what the principal had in store for them. Claire looked on, deep in thought. She couldn't possibly imagine what the surprise would be. She looked over at Miss Weverly and raised her hand to get her attention. She found it a bit hard, though, because it looked like Miss Weverly was in deep thought, too. She looked to where Miss Weverly was looking at, and all she could see was her assistant, Miss Quincy. She looked sad and worried. Miss Weverly couldn't stop looking at her for some reason. Miss Weverly looked at her like how her mom looked at her when she got in trouble one time for stealing cookies and giving it to Max, even though Max was told that he wasn't allowed to eat sweets for 2 weeks one time. It was a mix of worry and care. She didn't really understand it. After a few more minutes of trying to get her attention, Claire put her hand back down. Mr. Uthman slowly made his way across the room towards the stage. Following behind him was the vice principal, Rachel Freeman, and the science teacher, Isaac Marriott. When the three of them walked on stage, all the kids quieted down. The teachers in the crowd brought their hands up in the flower motion again, and everyone silenced. Mr. Uthman walked his way up to the microphone and began to speak. "Hello once again, my wonderful flowers. Are you all having a fun time at Banban's garden?" The kids all shouted a resounding, "Yeah!" in response. Mr. Uthman continued. Good. I'm glad that you are. We always make sure every Bring a Friend Day is enjoyable for everyone every year, and if possible, we try to make it better than the last. Now I bet you're all wondering what the big surprise is, aren't you?" Once more, the kids shouted and cheered. "All right, settle down. I can just tell already that you're just as eager as me. But before we begin, I'd like to share something with you all." The kids stared at Mr. Uthman with wonder, curious for what he had to say. "All of you may know me as the principal of this school and the creator of Banban's Garden, the show, but a lot of you don't know who I was before then. I was a doctor, or more specifically, a scientist. In my youth, I was fascinated by the world and what I can do to make a difference. In fact, your science teacher, Mr. Marriott, worked in the same building as me. I had one goal in mind when it came to my job: to make life. I wanted to see if it was possible if I could make something inanimate come to life. I wanted to at least prove it was possible, but I never could make it happen. And so I focused on other things and became who you see me as today. But then, in the midst of my failures, I discovered something. You see, I never did give up on my dream, not entirely. I still wanted to see if I could bring something to life. If I could have just found exactly what I needed, then it could be possible. And I did.
It took lots of trial and error, testing and retesting, but I finally did it. Mr. Uthman began to vibrate with excitement. He looked back at Miss Freeman and Mr. Marriott, who each gave a look of confusion and shock respectfully, before turning back to the kids. I was a bit nervous myself on whether or not I wanted to show him off, but I couldn't think of a better day than today. Mr. Uthman turned around and walked towards the curtains at the back of the stage. Now, I do ask all of you to please keep your excitement to a low volume. He's still rather shy and gets startled by loud noise. The kids leaned in to see what could possibly be behind the curtain. Even the adults were trying to see. Mr. Uthman pulled back one of the curtains and called for someone from behind. He beckoned at them with his hand and spoke in a hushed voice, saying, "Come on, it's okay. No one's going to hurt you." After some time, someone slowly came out from behind the curtains. They were wearing a large pirate captain's coat, the sleeves almost taking their hands, a large captain's hat to match, and an eye patch over his left eye. He was slightly taller than some of the kids here, but his hunched posture made him seem smaller. He had purple fur, a long tail, and small ears. He looked around the room in curiosity. It was like he had never seen so many people in one room before. Max had to blink and rub his eyes many times to make sure he was seeing things right, but it looked to be real. It was Captain Fiddles, right here in real life. It was really him, and not someone dressed up in a costume. It was really, truly Captain Fiddles in the flesh, or fur, rather. Despite the instructions, Max couldn't hold back his excitement. He stood up and shouted, "Captain Fiddles!" The monkey was startled at the sudden shout and quickly ran behind Mr. Uthman in a panic. The kids surrounding Max gave it a large shush towards him. Max quickly covered his mouth and sat back down in embarrassment. Now, settle down, everyone. Keep those blooms covered." Mr. Uthman looked at Max. "I know you're especially excited about this, Max. Captain Fiddles is your favorite character after all. But remember, he's still a bit shy, so we have to take things slow, all right?" Max nodded and zipped his lip to emphasize. Mr. Uthman nodded and continued. "Yes, if it isn't clear, this is the big surprise. Captain Fiddles is here to play with you all in this special Bring-A-Friend Day." Mr. Uthman knelt down to Captain Fiddles' level and looked at him with comforting eyes. Captain Fiddles stared back and tilted his head. "Here's how this will work. Everyone is free to do whatever activity they want here. Arts and crafts, watching the show, playing with toys, whatever you want. Captain Fiddles will walk around and observe you all, and once he's ready, he'll want to maybe join in on the fun. He can't talk, so make sure to politely ask him if you want him to join you. Once again, he's really shy, so be patient, polite, and I'm sure with enough kindness he'll want to join you." Max stared at Captain Fiddles, who was still looking at Mr. Uthman. He really wished and hoped that Captain Fiddles would join him and Claire for some fun. Captain Fiddles looked back out and locked eyes with Max. Max smiled and waved at him. Captain Fiddles gave a small wave and smile before looking away. Max was confused at Fiddles' behavior. He was always brave and courageous, not shy and nervous. He did remember an episode where Captain Fiddles' courage was stolen by an evil pirate, and his helpful crew had to teach him how to be brave again. Maybe he had lost his courage again. If that was the case, Max would do anything to get it back. "Now go on, have fun, and show Captain Fiddles here a great time." Mr. Uthman stood back up. "Certain stations have a number limit, so remember what Banban says, sharing is caring." Mr. Uthman walked off stage, with Miss Freeman and Mr. Marriott quickly walking behind him. The kids each ran off to do various activities, with the teachers going to each station to keep an eye on them. Max still stared at Captain Fiddles as he looked around at all the kids playing everywhere, unsure of where to go to first. Claire grabbed Max's hand and pulled him away. "Max, let's go make friendship bracelets," she exclaimed. Max followed Claire towards the table, all the while still staring at Captain Fiddles on the stage. Mason looked out over all the kids playing and having fun, all the while still having Captain Fiddles in her sight. He was busy walking around, observing the kids with curious eyes. Mason wasn't sure what to think. She played along to Adam's speech about bringing things to life, but seeing Captain Fiddles walk around and move like a real person and not someone in a suit, it seemed impossible. Mason didn't know much about Adam when she first met him, and he had mentioned that he was a scientist many years ago. But surely that didn't mean he was able to create life. There was no way. Was there? Amazing, isn't it? Mason turned around, startled at Adam suddenly appearing behind her. Yeah, she stammered. It's really something. You don't believe me, do you? He asked. No, I do. It's really remarkable how you were able to do this. Adam gave a smug look. It's okay. You can be honest. I get it. The two of them looked at Captain Fiddles as he stares at the crafting table that Max and Claire were at. Well, however you did it, he looks pretty good. I'd argue that he looks amazing. Mason looked at Adam. How long did you work on him? Adam took a deep breath and sighed. God, it's been so long, and I've done so much in between. He paused and tried to think back. I want to say he was finished back in 2006, but I of course had years of testing and training to do. Plus, on top of having my job here, it was a lot of work. You were working on him for 8 years? Mason exclaimed. You have no idea what I've been working on. Mason raised an eyebrow at the response, but continued to look out at the sea of kids before them. Captain Fiddles had now sat at the table where Max and Claire were at, making friendship bracelets. He reminds me a lot of James, she said. He does, doesn't he? Adam replied. Maybe the two of them can meet one day. Adam paused. Yeah, maybe. Though we'll have to make sure James is all better before that happens. Don't want Captain Fiddles to get sick as well. Mason's face begins to scrunch up in worry, remembering what she saw. By the way, I wanted to tell you something. What is it? It's about Kelly. You see, I saw her. Before she could get another word out, Isaac rushed towards the two of them and grabbed Adam by the shoulder. So sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to speak to Mr. Uthman. Alone. In private. Isaac stared at Adam with anger, confusing Mason. Yeah, sure, that's fine. As the two men walked out of the playroom, Adam waved back at Mason and shouted over the noise. We'll talk later. Mason waved back as the two of them rushed out of the playroom into the hall. Mason's head was a whirlwind. It was already a chaotic day. She had hoped things would still be all right. Isaac and Adam walked briskly down the hall towards Adam's office. Adam could see the fury in Isaac, so he started some light conversation. Did you see those kids' faces light up when Captain Fiddles came out? They were so happy, and he seemed to be getting along with some of the kids just fine. I have my doubts still that everyone will believe he's really real, but I don't think it matters too much. Adam opened the door to his office and leaned on his desk, while Isaac looked down each side of the hallway to make sure it was clear. I can't believe after all these years I got what I really wanted. To show the world what I'm capable of. It feels amazing. It feels cathartic. It feels... What the fuck do you think you're doing? The loud slam of the door brought Adam back to reality. Looking at Isaac, he saw an immense red-hot fury emanating off of him. He knew something like this was coming. He was surprised it didn't happen much earlier. Adam straightened up and spoke in a clear, genuine tone. I told you. I'm finally showing these people what I'm capable of. I think it's about time we did, didn't we? Case 12 hasn't been finalized yet, and you snuck him out of containment and showed him off to hundreds of people to see for your own selfish ego? Do you realize that if anything happens out there,
If he wrecks the playroom, or hurts a kid, or destroys the entire goddamn building, it'll be your fault. I know. And I don't care. Isaac stepped back, stunned. What? What are you talking about, Uthman? I don't have much time left, Isaac. You know this. Everyone knows this. So the very least I can do, before anything happens, is to finally show these idiots who I really am. I have crawled my way to get to this point for years, climbing the ranks and making a name for myself, and I will not back down away from this right now. You of all people should know. You were quite the leader back then, and I remember you crawling the same way I did when you asked to work for me. I said yes, because I knew there was no way I was going to let the opportunity of rubbing this victory in your face slip by. I showed you back then, and now I showed everyone out there what I'm capable of. Isaac clenched his fists. So you still don't care that some people won't believe you? Of course I do. I was fuming with the fact that Mason didn't believe me. I figured out of everyone here, she would. Isaac smirked. So that's what this is about. Just because you like her doesn't mean she'll be exactly as you want her to be. The only people who are willing to believe you out there are those snot-nosed brats who will grow up one day and think that it was all fake, that it was some animatronic or a guy in a costume. I highly doubt she's even serious about going on the trip with you. She has to! Adam snapped back. The room fell silent. Adam caught his breath and muttered the same words again. She has to. Isaac observed Adam and began to think. This isn't about the cancer, is it? What are you really planning on doing after this? Adam paused for a bit, then spoke again. I don't know. I don't know what will happen today. But if something does, then the least I can do is show them what I'm capable of. Isaac stared back in confusion. What are you talking about? What could happen? Something from below. Another pause. Is this what Case 13 was talking about? Isaac said quietly. Adam raised his head up at him. What was that? He questioned. Nothing. Never mind. Have you been speaking with Flynn without my permission? If I have been, at least I'm not the only one who's been talking other cases for private conversations. Adam stood up straight and stared at Isaac with annoyance. What's that supposed to mean? Adam asked. Case 13 told me everything, Isaac replied. He slowly walked towards Adam until he was right up to his face. Everything, he repeated. Adam could only stare while Isaac waited for a response back. Adam straightened back up and reassured his role as leader. This doesn't concern you, Isaac. If anything, you should tell me why you and Case 13 have been talking so much. Let's just say he's the only one who I can relate to around here. No shit. He's you, genius. At least he tells me things that should be knowledge to not only me, but everyone here. What does that make you, huh? And what exactly are you going to do with this information? Who's going to believe you? Well, if I can't get anyone here to see my truth, I can always go to the police and show them. They'll especially want to know everything, including about what happened to Michael. Adam's eyes widened in rage. Isaac continued to look on with a smug face. You wouldn't dare, Adam responded with a scowl. I would. Consider this payback for all the bullshit you put me through working here, Isaac rebutted. You son of a bitch. I swear I oughta— You oughta what? Put me through the same shit you put Mike— Don't you dare say his name to me! It seems I'm not the only one you grew jealous of, huh, Uthman? Is this what you do to everybody who steps in your spotlight? Adam grabbed Isaac by his coat and brought him closer to him. Isaac could see the red in his eyes and the veins popping out of his head. Listen to me, Marriott. This is not a joke. You, of all people, are not going to ruin this for me. Not today of all days. If you say a single goddamn word about this to anyone, I'll know. If you working here isn't a living hell already, I'll make it worse. Because if I find out, and I will, that you've been telling people about this, I'll make sure you get it. You know the difference between you and me, Uthman? At least I know when a joke's gone too far. Isaac smiled. You fucking bastard. I swear to God I'll... Before Adam could continue on with his threats, a large sound interrupted them. The ground shook beneath them, and the sound of concrete breaking and cracking could be heard far away from them. The sounds of kids crying and adults panicking and yelling could be heard. What the hell was that? Isaac shouted. I don't know, Adam replied. Isaac was the first to rush out the door towards the noise, while Adam quickly grabbed his cane and followed behind. Adam wasn't as fast as Isaac, especially in the condition he was in, so the best he could do was see which turns he was taking. Adam saw Isaac make a sharp left turn into the playroom. He then heard, "Holy shit!" echo in the hall. Adam fastened his pace until he reached the playroom. He saw Isaac standing there, not moving, looking dead ahead in the middle of the playroom. Adam was about to ask Isaac what had happened, until he saw for himself. Adam's eyes widened, his mouth agape, and nearly dropped his cane at the horrors he saw in front of him. The playroom had a newly added hole that had unearthed in the middle of the room. The hole was almost as big as the entire room. The stage had been completely consumed by it, along with several tables and chairs. The cracks in the floor expanded for several feet away from it. There was damage on the walls and ceiling, and the lights had went out. The one thing that shook Adam to his core was the fact there were now half of the amount of people in the room than there were before, meaning the kids and some of the staff had fallen down, hundreds of feet below the surface. Listening closely amidst all the screaming and crying, a faint sound of an alarm could be heard coming from the hole. Adam nearly collapsed, only able to hold himself up with his own cane. The only thing he could bring himself to say was, "It's happening." As he continued to stare at the carnage in front of him, he finally bared witness to the sins of his past coming back to drag him down to hell.